Welcome back to another journey with the Crypto Foundation. Today we're going to discuss Bitcoin and if it's showing any signs of strength for a potential rally to previous highs in the next few months. We'll also look at the dollar chart to see if it's supporting a bull or bear case for risk assets. And last, we'll discuss the altcoin markets divided by Bitcoin because we want to answer the question, is it a good time to be swapping into alts, or when may that time be? Let's jump right in. One thing I notice right away is on an indicator such as MACD, it has crossed bullish for quite some time. The blue had crossed the orange line over here, and then the zero line was crossed over here. That kind of speaks to a strong base being built in this area in Bitcoin, which wasn't the case in 2019. And you can see that with kind of this stair stepper up where there's consolidation, rally, consolidation, consolidation, and then rally. Another thing that I've noticed since all of the Bitcoin ETF news, whether it was the fake news or the actual approvals, price is still hovering in this area. It has breached this area here, the dark green inner box here, but it is hovering and staying in that area. Now, I would still see this as a pivot to the downside, like I said in my last video, if candles were being rejected here for multiple weeks in a row, right? Now, if candles are going above this orange box, above the 50K, and basing above there for a few weeks in a row, there's a higher chance to go to the previous highs. If we take a trend-based Fibonacci measure from the lows of 2022 to this area over here, we see the following extension where this 47,000 is the 1.382, a critical area that often gets hit with an extension. The 1.618 is the 51,000 level here, and then the 2.618 is the 67,000 level. That's the 2.618 and that's the 1.618. So you can see how if price, I wouldn't be surprised that price hits 51K, right? In the next month. Again, we're quite bullish on the MACD over here on the larger time frame, and we've built a good base here, and we just continue to rally. Let's talk about the scenario if it doesn't reject here and it continues up, but bases above the 51K. Even basing above that is quite bullish, where I wouldn't expect like a 1 or 2 week candle to be a fake out. If it was a rally above this blue line here, it would be very, very short-lived rally, not a sustained rally. So if it was basing, price was basing above this blue line here at around 51, 52,000, the next targets you're looking for are these ones here, right? 55, 57, 59, 62, all the way to 67, testing previous highs. And then a rally to 67 wouldn't be out of the picture if it based here, because again, that is that 2.618 level. So that's what we're watching for. We don't want to have a bias either way. If you're considering a trimming, like I had at one point, trimming some BTC here, like a meaningful amount, maybe 10% or something like that, or 20%, then I would have to see how price is handled within this zone. Okay, so yeah, it's surprisingly with all the news, it's still right here in testing this area. Which I previously labeled how much Bitcoin do you sell, if any. That's becoming relevant as time goes on with these ETF approvals and all the hype. Because the reason why is because if it rejects here, then will we see a test of lower levels, and that would have been a good area to sell. Now, one quick thing I want to talk about on the chart before we move on is this price could see a relief into areas such as down to these boxes here, as I described in my last video. This is the most obvious area, about 31K. You can see this is it's a 92-week moving average right here. That is surprisingly scraping the lows of this lower red box, right? So to me, that just says that would be the absolute low if we were to get a really strong retracement here and then build back up to whatever price is going to do after that. I don't know. I don't want to speak to that. I'm just talking about strong retracement. So, but in any of these cases, you could see a retracement first, and there are some indicators that are showing exhaustion on Bitcoin price right now. Unless those don't pivot to the upside, then there is a good chance that this is a rejection area and we go back down to test something else. And then after that, we would just have to wait for the indicators to catch up and price to catch up and see what's holding or what's not holding, okay, while we avoid the news. I will confirm that this area 31 down to 27 is an interesting area for me to bid, and I already have bids in this area for Bitcoin. Now it could stop here at 36, and I'll consider that once the time comes. But if it does stop there, it could then make its way back up, testing these higher levels. And those retracements might be sharp and quick, but the reason why I mention that is because it's good to keep an open mind, thinking that it's not just one way up, one way down. There's various options that can happen, but we use these zones to kind of guide ourselves, which means that if there's a rally, there could be a short correction and then a test to base above that 51K, right? If there was a short correction and then we rallied again to base above that area, then I would have a higher conviction that we're going to test 67K, not just all in one shot. Based on all the charts now, I seen it rejected here, the news included. I could see this as a strong pivot point. So let's see. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but let's see. If we go back to 2019, just to look at this red 92-week moving average, we can see here that price was supported here. Again, I wouldn't be surprised that this 27K, which I've talked about for quite a while now, could be tested, right, before some other relief rally and then down or up, whatever happens. Okay, let's move on to the next chart.